Billy Woods and Kenny Segal, Hiding Places album review. I want to start this off by asking y'all this because y'all always have, I think, at least for the last 5 years, y'all have had Billy Woods in y'all top list, or you guys always mention him, like, you know, he's super dope, this, that, and the third. Before I say what I gotta say, where does this project rank for y'all? Like, is it, if it's not the best, it's cool, but like, is it toward the top, in the middle, bottom?
I think it's up there with some of his better albums. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's on par pretty much with what he's been doing.
Towards the top.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like top 3. Easy.
Okay. Because y'all always talk about Billy Woods, and I always be saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna go check him out, and sometimes I don't get to these artists. So this is my.
Who told you to go check him out? Definitely wasn't me.
I just think
somebody was setting you up.
Just in talking.
Yeah,
it's like implied.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Especially check out
because you guys always hold this guy in such high regard, so it's kind of like, okay.
It's like implied, like
just check it out. Implied. I just don't worry about it.
You know,
no, because what about okay?
No,
I'll let him go. Go ahead.
But as my first introduction, the first thing that got me was his voice. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very commanding and it's big, right? So I don't. When I first listened to him, I didn't like his flow because he talking to you a lot. He talked to you a lot, and then he be talking like in this weird ass way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't know if I like this shit, bro. I don't know. But then it's kind of like it grew on me. But the thing I can't understand the messages, like everything. And I've read the lyrics, and in all honesty, personally, I haven't been in the right frame of mind. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really been in the mood to listen to something like this. So I feel like it was a little forced on me. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, anybody that follows me, I've been going through a lot the last, couple weeks, and just emotionally, I wasn't that open to accept it. But he kind of knocked on the door, and I'm like, okay, there's certain things I like about you, but I don't get all of your messaging, and that's kind of where I am with him. So that's the reason why I wanted to ask initially, like, where does this rank? Because if this is one of his best, then I definitely want to go back and see what I am missing.
Sometimes there's just shit you're not gonna like, and there's I mean, not every piece of hip hop is made for everybody.
Of course. Like,
I'm already comfortable with the fact that I will never understand Nipsey Hussle's music, where that's like your fucking main guy. I don't think Billy Woods is ever gonna be the type of guy that's gonna connect for you like that.
No, I don't think he's ever gonna be somebody that connects like that with me, but I like to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try to
understand shit.
Huh?
I barely understand.
No, I feel you. And that's what, because like, obviously the name of the this project is called Hiding Places, right? And when I read some of the lyrics, it's kind of like when he was talking about the dude with the fucked up music and mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dropped your shit, it was trash, it was a turd. And, so it's kind of like a motherfucker that's trying to almost like hide your shit, but it's almost like exposing. And he talked about that in a couple of different joints, like crawl spaces. You know what I'm saying? Where it's kind of like there's nowhere for you to hide it with certain things. So it's kind of like I'm almost getting like maybe where he's trying to go, and maybe I'm way the fuck off. I don't know, but it's kind of like that's what intrigues me, and that's why like his style it doesn't grab me. Just like Nipsey didn't grab me at first either.
Right.
But I know that there's something there that maybe I'm blocking it, and I can't accept it right now. But I know there's something there, and I love his voice. I like, that's the first thing. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker sound good. But then that choppiness or whatever, it's that always throws me off. But then when I started reading the lyrics and really trying to understand it, I'm like, there's something here. I'm not absorbing it. So I want to.
I've been going back to all of Nipsey Hussle's shit because I want to like him more. Just because I've always liked him as a person, but the music never really connected with me like that. So, but then I just come to realize that like some people you're just not gonna get.
Yeah.
And I don't. When I listen to Billy Woods, I kind of put him in that same bucket as A$AP Rock, Whereas I'm not gonna understand everything. I'm just not. A lot of his shit just goes straight the fuck over my head.
Yeah.
With this album, I think a lot of the songs he was really talking about himself. Like when he's talking about dropping an album that's a dud, like a grenade or whatever. I dropped my album and went thud like a grenade that's a dud or whatever. I think he's talking about himself, which is why I think this album is towards the top. Because he's very wordy, he's very heady, but this time he's very vulnerable. So I think a lot of these songs he's talking about his own like fears, his own insecurities, and that's not something you always get from Billy Woods.
Like the little skit that he had where he's like, yo, I've been living in this place for 20 fucking years and people still send their mail. You know what I'm saying? Like people
that was
broke.
Speak Gently, I think.
Okay, he was like, broke niggas don't get their mail forwarded. Right. So that also played into the idea that like when I was listening to it that you can't hide, nigga. like you may not see this bill, but it don't mean that you don't owe this fucking bill. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what intrigued me because I'm like I'm getting little pieces, but like you said, he's so fucking wordy. I'm like, dog, what the fuck are you like? What is this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it has me intrigued, but like I said, partially
loses you at some point.
Yeah, you know.
I get you. Cause that's how I was when on the Blockhead project when I was just like, oh man, I think I like this Billy Woods guy or whatever because he was saying some stuff in that one verse. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was rapping about this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I remember saying it on the Blockhead, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
How like he says some shit that pulls you in.
Yeah.
He definitely says shit that pull you in.
But it don't keep me in. Though.
I got you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
I got you.
Yeah. It definitely keeps me in. The funny thing is when I hit him back and I told him we were gonna review this, he was like, all right, well let me know if you need anything. I think he might have said, let me know if you need any clarification or whatever. And listening to this, part of me wanted to hit him back and be like, all right, what does this mean? But then,
you don't want to have
but
like
I don't want to
code.
have, exactly. I don't want to have the up, down, left, right, left, right. So I just left it alone. And I feel like, maybe later on, I might do that.
Outside of his commanding voice and he compels you to listen to him, there's a mystery in the things that he's rapping about, and it's like when like it's things that are in that you can unpack, and like Myke was saying earlier, you don't want to cheat code and you want to kind of figure out some of this stuff yourself. Because I've listened to him in interviews and he's a real the rare few interviews that he does, but he comes across as a really highly intelligent guy that knows a lot about a lot of shit. And I like that he speaks on a lot of current shit that's going on. So his content is always very relevant to what's going on in the world too. And in addition, like you hear him say something about he pays attention to also what's going on within his own culture. He will make references to current rappers you wouldn't even think he would make references to, like him making reference to Wiz Khalifa on here. Sometimes he'll take a mainstream song and turn that into a verse. So and it shows that he has a certain awareness about him, about the world that's around him, and just even on here the line he said, chilling like a black person that never felt
the whip.
Yeah, come on, man. And it's such
that shit was crazy. That nigga stick. I never heard of a blunt referred to as a nigga stick,
bruh.
I sat here rolling a nigga stick. The woman stopped me and said, "There's more shit to fix." I said, "Hold up, I'll be up there in a minute." Yeah, I'm chilling like a nigga that ain't felt the whip. I've never what the fuck?
When I saw that, like I had to read it a couple times. I'm like, is he talking about a blunt? Like is that what he's referencing? Cause like and that was part of the shit I was talking about. It's kind of like, how could you understand that? Cause I read it and I barely understood.
I mean, I assumed
like right off the bat, like that.
What else do you roll? I assume it was a joint. I roll a nigga stick. I mean, I assume it was a joint.
I didn't know what the fuck it was. I never, like you said, I never heard nobody reference that shit like that.
But that's the shit that Billy Woods will do. And if you listen to him enough, I feel like you'll just get what he's referencing. Because you'll know that he's gonna say something weird like that.
Man, he has a crazy ear for beats. Like, the shit that he picks out to rap over just always seems to fucking work. And he'll pick out some shit that's just hard as fuck that you don't even think this shit should be hard, and the shit just fucking knocks, man.
How he sounds sometimes makes it. I don't want to say it doesn't matter the beat he picks, but that shit's gonna have a certain level of grittiness and just just because of him. And there's certain artists that are like that. He's definitely up there when it comes to that.
Even on SpongeBob, it's the perfect opening track. And I'm listening to it, and then when he got to the hook, and he said, you know, when he started talking about God, he was like looking up at God like, motherfucker, you promised. That shit's so motherfucking cold, man. Like, you legit cursing out God because you felt forsaken at that moment. And that's what I kind of feel like as I continue to listen to it more and more. That's kind of the thing that I started to get from this album. It's like a sense of forsakenness. It's like there are things that I'm striving to get and trying to do, and I'll get there and try it, but it don't work. Like on Steak Knives, he talked about his works to come in 4th place, and then he finishes 2nd.
Yeah.
And it's just like he's right there.
The prize is a steak knife.
And the prize is a steak knife.
I didn't even get that until way later. That's probably something for our age, but like the game shows back in the day, they used to give you
bullshit ass runner-up prizes and stuff.
Like second
like you
place
see the winner get something so lavish, and
they
then
get a car, and your ass
you get a pen.
Right.
You get a pen right here. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Steak
write
knife.
something down.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't even get
That's so
that until
throwback.
later.
Yeah, that's so throwback.
Yeah. Again, Billy Woods, that's what he'll do. He'll fuck you up like that.
Of course, just what echoing what Myke and Ken said, like, yeah, his voice is definitely so commanding. I think Billy Woods is one of those artists, I think, like LP, ASAP Rock, like just artists that you be like, no one sounds like this guy. This guy is no carbon copy of nothing. It's just like, he is Billy Woods. It's gonna be later on in the years, guys sound like Billy Woods, because Billy Woods is like his own entity, man. Like that's one thing I like about him. And of course, this projects with Arm & Hammer. I mean, Arm & Hammer with Lucid. But yeah, this project. Another thing you was talking about the beats. This guy Kenny Segal, he was on my top 10 beat tapes of 2016. And if you listen to those instrumental beats and listen to this, the fact that Billy Woods was able to get this out of this man, the type of beats that he was making, I didn't know Kenny Segal had that in him. And then the fact that the thing I love about Billy Woods too is like he does a good job of like painting so many pictures of like how it is living hard and being a black man in America. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing that I always, what a lot of his content, a lot of his conscious storytelling ability songs, his song structures is just something like I never heard before, which another thing that just put me in with Billy Woods. I'm just like, damn. How is he sounding like? For one, how does his voice sound like this? But how he still, it's almost like you said, talk to you. It's like Rock Marciano, you know how he just talk to you and shit, but like his wordplay is completely different. It's just like, it's like Myke said, it's stuff I'm listening to where I'm still like, damn, okay, so I caught this, but what the fuck does he mean on this shit? What does he mean on this shit? So like, I do feel like I need like a cheat code too, but like, it's kind of fun like unpackaging this every time when I listen to it. Because of course you listen to it for your own personal enjoyment, but it's like, fuck, okay, is he like in like the last joint, what's that, Red Dust? Was he hiding from genocide? You know what I'm saying? Like
I started getting lost about halfway through the album.
Yeah.
Real talk, like some of the songs I would pick up on, but then some of them I would just like, I don't really know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's still dope as fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't really get it yet. And granted, I haven't had this for that long. I mean, I've had it for about a month.
Right.
But for Billy Woods, it's not that long.
It's not that long. You need
months
time
to unpack.
Yes, you definitely.
What he's saying.
Because I'm pretty sure all of us is gonna still unpack stuff months later.
There's shit I'm unpacking from fucking albums he dropped in the 90s.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So like with that said, like you know how people be writing like think pieces on like Kendrick shit. So do people write think pieces on him?
I feel like Billy Woods is one of those rappers, and I feel like he talks about that a bit on this album, his frustration with that. But I think he's one of those rappers that is, I don't want to say he's ignored, but he's unfairly not given enough attention to. Because like the way this dude raps and the way he composes bars, and just like you said, I was gonna say that before, is he's so vivid with his imagery.
Yes.
When he says certain things, you can immediately see it. You know, yeah, Kendrick has the whole mainstream thing on lock, but there are so many, I've said this before about these conversations, there's so many rappers that are on this underground indie level that are doing this shit just as well, if not better, than Kendrick. And Billy Woods is one of those guys that I feel like if people really sat down and put his shit, like read his lyrics as poetry, you'd be blown away.
Yeah, I think that's why I appreciate him the most about it. Like, not that he's dope, but like, I'm like, yo, this dude is really not a carbon copy of nothing. Like, he is himself. Like, that shit is crazy.
So is there typically like an overall theme with his albums, like, or it's just like song to song? It's kind of like it has its own like story type of thing that you have to break down and piece together.
From what?
No, I was about to say, for this particular album, I just feels like he's coming from a dark, lonely place. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he's like when you said, when he on that skit when he was talking about the apartment, like him just like being at this apartment for so long, being like almost kind of like shelved in and getting all this mail from people, and he's like, if I die, they gonna get my mail. But it's also, he talking about hospital bills and stuff. It's like the shit that people go through, black in America. That's what I love about it. It's like he's so conscious and so aware of shit. But I took this overall theme of this album as he just kind of like dark and lonely. That's how I grasped in this, because this is a very dark album.
Like, it doesn't matter what you try to do. You could try to, like, ignore shit, but it's still there. It's still something you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like that's the overarching thing that I got from it. And again, like, listening to you guys, I guess I could be 100% right. I could be 100% wrong.
No, I mean, I think that's basically really it. Like he said, this is a really dark album. And he's really coming from a place of, it sounds to be not really desperation, but almost like a fuck it. Like, I don't remember what song it is, but like the line where he says, it's almost like the Public Enemy line where he says, I got a letter from my insurer the other day. I opened it and read it. It said the treatment wasn't covered. Yeah. So then it said something. Oh, it's the song
Big Fake Laugh.
Big Fake Laugh.
Yep, that's what
he says I looked at the family and said, I fuck it. And then it's like the big fake laugh. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, he did the laugh.
Yeah.
Which was dope.
And it's just like when you hear it the first time, you're just like, I don't really get what he's doing. But then it clicks, and he's just like, what else am I gonna do but laugh? Like, that's what black folks do.
You gotta do.
You're just like, fuck, this is so bad. I can't cry no more. I can't be mad anymore, so I just laugh about it. But there's so many lines just like that. Like, when he says that, you can picture getting a phone call and looking at your family like, yeah, they're not gonna cover it. Like, what are we gonna do?
Like, damn.
Like, but there's one line in, I believe it was a day in a week in a year. That shit where he said, I can't remember the whole line, but it was like, it's something like a group of fiends. He put the chrysanthemums and the daffodils in the burnt end of a crack pipe. Then it says at the end, they're gonna hit the crack pipe again. But it's just like, the way he says these things, like, you can really picture this thing happening. And the fact that you're taking a crack pipe and you're talking about putting daffodils and chrysanthemums in the burnt end of it, it's just like, how does that even come to your brain to say shit like that? But that's typical Billy Woods. Like, he just composes shit that you would otherwise not think about. And he's just dope at it.
And the other thing I like about that song is, I never heard of Mother Mary.
Me either.
I don't know who the fuck they were, but they were, the way they used them on that song was perfect.
Yes.
Spider-Hole had a dope bass line on it.
Yeah.
Kenny Segal was fucking killing
Sure,
on
I'm
that
thinking of
shit.
Checkpoints.
It may have been
had like the
Checkpoint.
live drums on it and the live bass guitar.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Crawl Space was fucking dope. Speak Gently totally caught me off guard with the spoken word, because it kind of took me back to like when I first came to Atlanta. I don't know if you guys are familiar with DJ Jamal, who used to put out the Afro Mentals series. And I used to go to Little 5 Points, and there's a little hole in the wall, and they used to sell all these little mixtapes or whatever. That song sounded like something that he would pull out and put on one of those mixtapes, one of those blends that he used to do. Because used to do a lot of neo soul type shit. In the line of he would pick out like hip hop, like Mos Def and shit like that, Oma Says and Jill Scott and all this neo soul and blend it together. He would pull out something like that, and it took me back to that time. But I can't recall Billy Woods ever doing that before.
Yeah, this was a heavy ass fucking album, man. This is probably one of his heavier albums, just because, like I said, I feel like a lot of this he's talking about himself. And he does that, but it seems like he's doing it more here, or he's just making it more obvious. But I like that he's been playing with different producers lately. Like, he jumped from Blockhead, then he goes to Kenny Segal, and all of his albums are getting a very distinct and different sound, and he's able to rock every one of them.
For me, favorite tracks, give me SpongeBob, Checkpoint, Spider-Hole, and Crawl Space.
Give me SpongeBob, Spider-Hole, A Day in a Week in a Year, Crawl Space, Steak Knives.
Crawl Space, Big Fake Laugh, A Day in a Week in a Year, Checkpoints, SpongeBob.
Definitely SpongeBob, Checkpoints, Healthy, which we didn't talk about that one. That one had that weird ass beat.
Yeah.
That had that weird zoom. Like the record was stopping.
Yeah.
Crazy. Day a Week in a Year, and Crawl Space. And I'm gonna pull a Feefo and go in big fake laugh.
Okay, well, give me.
Shit, we going for seconds, goddamn.
Yeah, give me. Let's add and Speak Gently.
Billy Woods, if you're watching, man, this is my first introduction to you. And like I said in the review, the first thing that comes across is just your commanding voice. Like, it's overwhelming, damn near. You know what I'm saying? But you know how to control it. Like, you know, like when to give a little bit more, when to take off. I can't say that you turned me into a fan, but I'm definitely intrigued to try to unpack, you know what I'm saying, some of the messaging and some of the stuff and schemes and patterns and shit like that. Much success to you. I know these guys love you, so I know you're not whack, because, you know what I'm saying, we don't like whack people.
Dope project. Yeah, I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, man, I just love everything you do, man. And I like, you know, like B said earlier, is that, you know, there's a relatability factor to your music and how you factor in black issues and how you talk about them. You talk about them in such a dope way that's not always necessarily in your face. And I appreciate that. So, and it almost feels like there's also a representation of that in that particular scene and the type of music that you do. And I think that's dope, and I think that's needed, and I appreciate that you do that.
Billy Woods and Kenny Segal, if you're watching, great job with this album. I mentioned before Kenny Segal. I listened to your stuff on your Bandcamp. I had no idea you had this in you. I'm glad Billy Woods pushed you to wherever you had to be pushed to make this type of production for this album, which is amazing. Billy Woods, man. I mean, I've been 2012. I've been a fan of you for 7 years now. So not as long as Myke C-Town, but you know, you definitely have a fan here, man. I always look forward to whatever you're working with, whether it's Arm & Hammer stuff or your solo work, anything, man. I'm always support and check it out, man. I always look forward to hearing the way you rhyme and shit, man. It's just crazy, and your voice is just. It's nuts, man. I like the fact that you're you and no one is ever going to be like you. Like, I love it. So keep up the good work.
Billy Woods, Kenny Segal, you guys put together a masterpiece. Easily one of the best products that I've heard this year. I feel like this has been a different direction than what you were doing before, and I like that you're not repeating yourself. Kenny Woods. They should have called the album Kenny Woods. Kenny Segal, you gave Billy Woods some fire. You gave him some very different beats to rap over, and Billy, you fucking murked every single one of these beats. But I can't lie, some of this content makes me a little worried. I hope everything's okay, but I can still appreciate the vulnerability. I can still appreciate the honesty that you're putting in this music. It makes other people that may be feeling those same insecurities feel like they're not alone. So I love every moment of this, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you do next. So great job.